Shalom, 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 yashala. This your boy, Brother Samuel, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Cursed in the Field. Right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Right, that's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, right? And the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, from the elder apostle Tahar on down, who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and have pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days, right? And I came across this article. It was given unto me, and I took a look at it. And like I said, today's lesson, today's title is going to be cursed in the field, right? And this was it was talking about dairy workers and just immigrant workers, like working on farms, and how there are deaths on these farms, and none of this stuff is being investigated, right? Or no, investigations or things have never, been looked at, and these immigrant workers, are our brothers from the Northern Kingdom, but it's like their deaths go unnoticed, and ultimately we know it's all of Yahawashi and but the curses, they're still upon us, man. They're still upon us, and that's why we need Yahawashi, man. Our strength, right? Who would deliver us from this captivity, right? Who would turn the curses from us, But I'm just going to read a little bit, right? So it says, dairy workers on Wisconsin's small farms are dying. Many of those deaths are never investigated. And Salaki, this is from ProPublica.org. It says many of those deaths are never investigated. It says OSHA sometimes investigates deaths on small farms if they provide housing to immigrant workers. Other times, the agency says it can't take action, right? So some of these things, the way they've set up, the laws, they can't investigate some of these things, right? Which we know is crazy, right? Just read a little bit of this. So it says at least 17 workers, mostly immigrants, have died on Wisconsin dairy farms since 2009. 12 of those deaths happened on farms with fewer than 11 workers. It says for decades, Congress has barred the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is OSHA, from enforcing safety laws on farms with fewer than 11 workers unless they have what's called a temporary labor camp. Thousands of immigrant workers on dairy farms in Wisconsin and across the country live in employee-provided housing, which could be a trailer on the property or an apartment in town. It says OSHA has repeatedly, though inconsistently, said housing of immigrant workers is a type of temporary labor camp, and as a result has inspected some small Wisconsin dairy farms after workers' deaths. But it says ProPublica identified 3 deaths on small Wisconsin dairy farms, including a worker's recent drowning in a manure lagoon. It says that OSHA didn't investigate, even though workers lived in employer-provided housing, right? So the way it was set up is like that OSHA can only investigate if there is a employee-provided housing on the area, right? And if you've been to some of these farms, like I've been to some of these, not in Wisconsin, but in other states and areas, that you go to some of these farmlands, right? And you'll see a lot of immigrants. You'll see a lot of so-called Mexicans, right? Which we know is Ishikar, right? Who are working on these farms, from dairy farms, to the whole nine, and they're usually living. I pulled up to one. It was about maybe 7 or 8 of them, workers kind of living in a house together, So, these things are all across the U.S., right? So let me just read a little bit of this, and then we're going to get into some scriptures. And the Lord's will, this is edifying, right? It says, on a below freezing morning in March 2013, Israel Lepe Quesada was crushed to death while working on a dairy farm in northeast Wisconsin. The farm's owner had found Lepe pinned between the engine compartment and hydraulic arms of the forklift-like machine. It says almost 6 years later, Blas Espinoza Kuha Suzia Salaki, if I, it says was killed when the arms of a skid steer loader, another kind of farming vehicle, fell on him at the dairy farm where he worked near the Minnesota border. It says his last words, according to court documents, were to say goodbye to his family, And these are the things, right? They're you got the Northern Kingdom, man, they're coming here to Babylon to try to, make a living so they can send back, to their family, And it says, when you read down, it says, and one night in March of this year, Florencio Gomez Rodriguez drowned after he drove a skid steer into a 14-foot deep pond filled with cow manure on a dairy farm where he worked, right? So he ended up, the skid steer that he was using ended up driving into a 14-foot deep pond, and it was filled with cow manure, right? Could you imagine that? Right? You're working the machine, whatever happened, lost control or whatever, and you end up in a 14-foot thing of a pond of manure, of cow manure, right? And this is what the daughter says. When the daughter of the farm owner called 911, she told the dispatcher it is unlikely Gomez had survived. Usually when you go down, you don't normally come back up. She said, it's thick, right? An autopsy found traces of manure in Gomez's airway, right? So he suffocated and drowned through manure, man, through cow manure. Okay? And that's, hey, that's nothing but the curses right there, man. That's nothing but the curses, of our people, man. And like I say, these curses are still upon us, man. And this is why I said, curse shall thou be in the field. Let's see. Here we go. It says in all 3 cases, inspectors from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, the federal agency responsible for workplace safety, went to the farms, and in all 3 cases, they left within an hour without conducting any investigations into the deaths, right? And we know, matter of fact, let's just get into it, right? But you see this thing, right? This stuff, and this is a lot of times when it comes to the Northern Kingdom, a lot of news and stuff that's going on with them is not really publicized, right? Like I said, I had to get this article, it was given to me, and we were talking about it, and they were like, I told them, send me the article, okay? So, and when you see, these deaths, and then it's like they have, organizations set up, but then they make, rules and regulations so that, they won't be held accountable. Okay. They won't be held accountable, in case stuff happens. Right. So let's get into some of these scriptures, right? Like I said, we know that these are the curses, man. Right. And let's get this one real quick. Right. This is, in the book of Zechariah, right? Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5, it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahawah, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Right? But the way how they slay them, right? It's not necessarily, you don't have to do it with a sword, right? But you do it, how things happen, and guess what? They set up rules and regulations through their organizations, to basically hold themselves not guilty, right? Knowing that these farming instruments and equipment, are safety hazards, right? And what you're doing is you're getting these immigrants, right, who will come and they'll work for a little of nothing, right? And then what do? You take advantage of them, right? And you work them, right? Just like, Egypt did, right? The Hebrew slaves, the Hebrew Israelites, who we are, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? It's the same way, But it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahawashi, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not, right? And that's the thing. They'll do it. Someone will die on their thing, like the daughter said. Oh, usually they don't come back up, right? Which means to me that it's happened numerous times, right? And nothing's been done about it. Why? Because in their eyes, it's just another so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American, right? We can get those a dime a dozen. We'll go over, to the Home Depot. They'll hop in the truck and, hey, come work for us in the farm or whatever. We'll give you, a trailer, right? It said they'll provide them a trailer or an apartment, right? And you and 12 of your buddies can stay in there, right? And make a little or nothing, right? But hey, if you get hurt or something happens, hey, we don't know nothing about it, So, and these are the systems that are set up, man, that are set up in place. And ultimately, these are the curses, that are upon our people, right? So this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse number 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahawah thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? And it says, it says, verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field, right? Cursed shalt thou be in the field, right? And, we see it. You can see it, plain as day, man, especially, our Northern Kingdom brothers, right? Just like the Southern Kingdom was, in the days of slavery, right? We were cursed in the field, man. Cursed in the field, out there working 16, 17 hours in the field. You know what I mean? Doing, who knows what, getting your back beat with whips and all types of things, right? But guess what? Even to this day, our brothers and sisters are being cursed in the field, working, right? Dying in dairy farms, that's putting, milk on your table, You're dying in 14-foot ponds of manure, man, right? Drowning in manure. Like, that's crazy. You think of it, Salakia. That's madness. Okay? Straight madness. It's craziness. So, let's get this. Let's keep going. Let's see. What did I want? I think I wanted a little further. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. It says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. right? And that's what that's what's happening now, right? You got the Northern Kingdom out here working on these farms, for pennies a day, right? I'm talking about, picking, crates and crates and barrels of, of produce and other things, right? And they don't even get to touch it, right? They don't even get to eat it, right? It says, and a nation, it says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always, right? So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see, right? And it should make you mad, right? Right? The scriptures tell you, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, right? Surely oppression makes a wise man mad, right? When you wake up, when you see this happening to your people, man, right? When you hear about, the last words that the man, said was, tell my family goodbye, man, as he's being crushed to death by farming equipment. Okay. And that's the thing, man, the sights that your eyes can see, and it's witnessed by other workers, right? These deaths. And then you have people come and investigate it, and they don't even investigate it. They go and they leave, right? Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? Let me see. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 38. It says, thou shalt carry much seed out into the field and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. It says, thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them, right? And that's the thing. It's like, all the things that they do, guess what? It's for the other nations, right? For Esau and his farm, you know? And that's what these curses, man. These curses, like I say, these curses are real upon us, Let me get that, right? And this is what it says, right? We understand this. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse number 46. It says, and they shall be upon thee, right? What is that? They are these curses, right? And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, right? These curses are upon, are the seed of the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American people, right? Forever, right? And we know it doesn't mean forever, ever, but guess what? Until Yahawashi comes back and turns, the curses, upon the other nations. And basically, he's our redeemer, That's why he's our redeemer, right? It's, when it talks about, when you go to verses 68, when it talks about us going on slave ships, and being sold to our enemies, and no man was able to buy us, right? But we know, who our Redeemer is, Yahawashi. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, right? So these curses are going to be upon our people until the time that Yahawashi returns, okay? But you read this stuff, and it continues to remind you. This is a continual reminder of the things that our people go through and the afflictions that we have gone through on this side, and just understand that these are, we can continue to just write reasons of why Yahawashi needs to return, right? Our flesh is corrupt, our own shepherds have turned against us, right? And they sell us, and they've turned their back onto us, right? We don't have a leader, right? That's why we need Yahawashi. Okay, you have all these different things going on. Like you say, the curses, are steadily upon us. Our enemies persecute us, day and night. You know, um, the order in the family is gone, right? And these are all because of these curses, man. These are all because of these curses, right? And ultimately because guess what? We failed to to uphold, our dealings with Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi at the end of the day, right? That these curses came upon us, right? And that's why Yahawashi came, right, to give us this grace period to get ourselves together, man, right? And to wake up in these last days, man, right? So, just, reading that, and it's just like I say, Northern Kingdom, a lot of times the stuff that they deal with, it doesn't get a lot of publicity, a lot of news. It's a little small article that you have, but it's not really talked about, But understanding that those, ultimately, still at the end of the day, are the Lord's, are the apple of His eye. Okay. And these things, though, like I say, you saw the deaths, it was like 2013, and it was a couple other, and up until even this year, these things have been happening, and there's been no investigations on these things. But understand that these things will not go, unseen. Yahawah Shem Shai has His eyes everywhere, beholding all things. Okay, beholding all things. Right? And guess what? And judgment will be executed, for those, who, and for the bloodshed, of the children of Israel on this land, man, So, I just wanted to bring out just a couple of, quick precepts and, kind of go through it again, especially with these curses, man, these things are still upon us, we live them every day, We got to continue to put our trust and our faith in Yahawah Shem Shai, right, to help us to endure in these days, man, right? So, like I say, Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000, 12,000 men from each tribe, right? To the rest of the elect, stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying for one another, right? And with that, I want to say, shalom.